Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Prismata. We are in the queue. In the meantime, we'll go watch Cheshunyoba versus Megasub. I don't even know if I should be saying that like it's Russian or what. Cheshunyoba. And if it were, I couldn't do it. No, never mind. No accents on channel. That's our official policy because I might offend people. This looks like a pretty good Centurion. We got Sagan. Or Sega N. In a base +5 set with 60 seconds. There seems to be a lot of soak, but no absorbers. And not a ton in the way of attack. If I had to guess, this set calls for Ebb Turbine, but not third Engie, and you try to play mostly blue-green. Hannibal's would be nice, but for them to be good, the game has to be getting to the point where people are dealing like 9 attack regularly. And even then, like, wouldn't you rather just be plexoing anyway? Building more green stuff. There's nothing here to deny the plexos, so likewise the barriers. So I think you want your defense to be walls and green stuff. And your attackers, I guess they could be Tarsiers. It doesn't cost you that much to defend in terms of drones with blue and green. But, like, Tantalum's pretty good too. I wouldn't be sad to have that be my main attacker. I guess we'll see once I get the ebb down how things are looking. Because I don't have to commit to building any attack before then. If it seems convenient to get an Animus for Tarsiers, then, like, sure, I guess I'll do that. And unlocking Hannibals for the mid to late game is just a convenient side effect of that. What's opponent so puzzled about here? Surely, like, it's automatic Blast Forge, right? Third Engie, I guess, is the other choice. But I don't like that choice, of course. Yeah, I mean, 4DC fits pretty well. Which is to say that, like, I can't actually get a good Animus while doing this, but I'd be thrilled to have 2 green per turn for the rest of the game, so seems like an okay starting point. If I floated this, could I do something differently? I'd have 16 bucks next turn. Let's say I wanted an Animus. That leaves me 10. Wall drone is 10? I mean, that's a thing, I guess. Because I sort of expect opponent to build some attack coming up. Like, I imagine they're building a splitter, right? I don't think you want another ebb right now. And they have some green. They might build a Gauss cannon, or they might save for a Tantalum. If I had an Animus, how much money would it cost me to spend my tech? 8 for Tarsiers, 5 for a wall. That's 13. I'm at 16 right now, and I'm talking about being at like 18. Yeah, I think floating for an Animus is actually better than getting a conduit. Maybe I'm underrating Tantalums, but I'm pretty happy to spend my try to build red attackers and spend my green on mostly defense. Or, I don't know, sort of floating it with the goal of defending with it one day, which is maybe not as great. I somehow thought this spent my money perfectly. It doesn't. Oh, this kind of sucks, doesn't it? I'm just getting a wall later anyway. And this steel splitter doesn't really threaten anything because they're holding this guy anyway. I'm behind on attacker tempo and ahead on drones. And I have more green. What do I do with that? I think I just build the attackers. Maybe get a second ebb. That doesn't seem very good. Probably it's a splitter instead, so that I can, I don't know. The splitter still doesn't really do much, but it's just like it's an attacker that I'll have one day, and it's better than wasting a bunch of blue, right? I'm sort of planning to drag the game out with Plexos and make up for my attacker deficit by having more drones. And also more green, so I'm contemplating cutting a drone for a conduit, but I think like 2 Tarsiers, wall, that's 13. I don't even need the wall, it could maybe be a splitter. 14. I have 7 left. I can Tantalum Ray, probably. And it's about time to start clicking Ebb next turn, I imagine. Should let me get some NGs or barriers or something. Oh, we'll get him on a disconnect. Easy, easy win. I also expect to have easier access to Hannibals than my opponent does because of the increased economy, right? I'm up 3 drones. It's not a lot, but it's something. In fact, is it Hannibal time already? They have 5. They'll have 7 attack guaranteed after the Hannibal arrives. And I expect them to add at least a little bit more, right? But maybe they won't if I build a Hannibal. Maybe they'll just get 2 Tarsiers and like a wall or something. Okay, so we'll get the Hannibal next turn. I want to make sure that's available. Boy, it feels bad to click Ebb to buy NG here. I think I can wait and use Plexos instead. This way I save the drone a bit. Like, because what would you do here? Would you get NG or drone? I kind of want the NG because I need a lot of defense next turn to get my Hannibal to land. But I have Plexos, right? Ooh, speaking of, maybe I get a conduit first? Yeah, actually attacking for 4 next turn is kind of fine. Because of their granularity issues, I don't want to add a Tantalum to make it 5, which is more convenient for them. This way I have more green, I can like get Plexo and Tantalum next turn in reasonably good conscience and still like Hannibal. Oh, keep in mind I can't Plexo and Wall. That's a little bit scary. I might have to spend even more green than that. Yeah. But a Hannibal next turn, guaranteed value because of they'll have at least 9 attack. Oh good, I can wall, Plex. Oh, I don't want a wall. Hannibal. Hold Splitter? Ugh. I feel like I needed a second blue somehow instead of all this green, maybe. You should Plexo instead of wall and then get like a Hannibal and a barrier or something. I'm actually attacking for 7 into this, but they're not like... It's not any kind of granularity exploit or anything. Right, so I'm holding back a Splitter to absorb and a Hannibal to soak. And now I want to try to aim for 7 attack next turn. Like, that's actually something that's... Or maybe like 8 or something is sort of within my reach. I don't have to click this Tantalum if they build a Hannibal. But okay, they're just going to build more attackers. They don't think it's time to soak yet with Hannibal. Well, we'll see. I feel sad about being down attackers. But that's life. I think you should also click Ebb. I don't know what you should do with that click, but you should really be selling off drones at this point, I think. Five, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11 next turn. Seems good. It says 15 there, but yeah. That's gone and these two aren't clicking. Obviously you hold a Splitter here, since it's not doing any damage. What is it, some kind of dare? No. I was gonna say it would be ideal to attack for 3 less than Perfect Absorb, which is to attack for 11, because then the only way to keep 3 health alive is a wall. They have to lose all their granularity. As it happens, that's what I was gonna do anyway. So I feel like they maybe should be replacing some NGs here, or getting a barrier or something. I think I can just Force Field here is better than Plexo. I don't like buying a Gauss Cannon instead of Tantalums, but I don't think I can make the dollar materialize, so there it is, I guess. What are we attacking for next turn? 5... What are we threatening next turn? 5, 7, 9, 13, 16? We're threatening 16, but likely to only actually attack for 14? Sounds pretty uncomfortable. I don't know, we'll see. Instead of Force Field, I could double Barrier or something, but then I'm not getting the Gauss Cannon. Yeah, I think this is alright. Ooh, it would be really nice to squeeze in 1 extra click if I could, of something, some attacker, to attack for 15 instead of 14. Killing the Rhino, right? That click does 2 damage, whatever I click with. Or I could click 1 less by holding Rhino and make them keep wall instead of Rhino, but I'm not as happy with that. Like, could I do this? I have to back off the Hannibal train to do it, but... Oh, and then I'm just, like, not actually granular anymore? And the Rhino attack doesn't even matter to them? Yeah, this doesn't seem so great. What if I attacked for 1 less here? I think that's the best I have, in fact. Assume they're actually attacking for 14. 7, 9... 14. This makes 15 pretty good for them, I think. No. 15 is me keeping alive. Wait, what? I'm confused. I thought I had over-defended this Rhino. But I haven't. Now the Force Field defends it. And I think I'm keeping all my attackers here. I believe I'm granular as well, but I'm not totally sure on that. No, I'm not. I'm not granular. All of my flex defense is has an even health. So this splitter click does 2 damage if they can click it. If they can't, I'm very happy. Great. And I'm no longer bound by the law of building Hannibals anymore. So I can actually get in extra clicks here. This one exploits. and they're losing a Rhino, so they have at most 14 attack here, which is an exploit. But it's looking like they'll have to hold Splitter as well, and that keeps the force field alive. Yeah, I think they have to hold a Splitter. And if they're holding one, holding a second is free. So that's nice, I guess. Yep, well done. Holding all of them is free, in fact. They're losing 2 attack here, so this defends. Maybe I shouldn't ebb click? I think I should, though. Maybe one of these NGs should have been 2 barriers, actually. I think I'm gambiting a Rhino unnecessarily, maybe? But it looks like they'll have to hold back at least 2 attack, and they're also losing 2. So all the Rhinos should be okay. If they hold back a 3rd attack, I'm sort of a little exploited in that my wall... in that if I want to not get exploited, I have to lose a Rhino instead of wall. Feeling pretty good about my Rhino timing this game, if nothing else. What is this? I get to keep 4 alive? That's the 2 Rhinos. Perfect. It's a lot of damage, though. They are losing 2 attack again, so they have at most 12. Probably exactly 12. So I guess this. I don't know why I said exactly 12. Of course they're holding back all the splitters. Oh, are they finally going to let me click all the Rhinos? Yes. I no longer have any exploits by clicking Rhinos. By holding Rhinos, I should say. This kills... well... perhaps only 1 attack. But they're likely to have to keep holding attacks, so I can assume I'm killing 2 and probably even 3. Is this silly? Like, is Wall Barrier better than Plexo? What if I did this instead and actually saved the drone for more Plexos? I have like a lot of green. Every drone I click Ebb with is actually pretty sad. Yeah, I think this is better. And Splitter is a better unit to be buying than Rhino. It can attack as many times as it wants, and it has 1 extra health for the low, low cost of $1. The stamina is not likely to matter. Any Rhinos we buy now, I think, will be exhausted after the game is over, but we'll see. The health is more what I was thinking about when I bought that Splitter. This is killing at least 1 attack, and they're probably holding back another. And I guess they're conceding, but yeah. Alright, so what do the stats look like? I think this is actually somewhat telling of what I consider the root cause problem of the game. This actually is too. There were 2 big problems. And they're both pretty well captured by these graphs. The first is the old maxim, he who buys the most Tarsiers loses the game. Right, my damage graph climbed more sharply because I stopped buying Tarsiers sooner and started buying faster attackers. Theirs kind of had this slowish thing. This decline, I think, was fine. It's not the problem. They were correct to be holding and losing Splitters. But, I don't know. This nice steep graph just looks like not Tarsiers, and this looks like Tarsiers. The other thing was opponent didn't click enough ebbs. Right, this graph is like when it starts going through the roof is when I was clicking ebbs, and opponent like never really did that, or not enough anyway. And I think both of those were really big contributing factors here. Oh, whoops! I meant to click view replay. All right, well, let's do that then. Okay, here we are. So I think we both went for the quite reasonable ebb opening. I'm glad I changed my mind about this conduit here. I think it was a pretty important decision. And I could not really have withstood my attacker deficit if I hadn't had access to Hannibals. And likewise, the attacker deficit would have been larger if I hadn't been able to kick things off with a few Tarsiers, super cheapo absorb denial units. So floating here I think was good, and I really had enough green anyway, right? I did buy a second conduit eventually. It would have been nice to have it now, but and then I couldn't have had the Animus next turn, right? So, plus we're not using the green for a little while. So I think this float was good, and I'm glad I didn't just do the autopilot thing of spending my resources. Was this... Did I think of clicking Ebb this turn? No, that was next turn, right? No? Not even then? Ah, yes, when the Tarsiers were arriving is when I thought of buying a bunch of attackers with Ebb click. And I actually backed up, and instead of selling a drone, I bought a drone. A big course correction. And this conduit, when I'm already floating 5 green, feels pretty stupid. But I think this is correct. Because I want to buy Tantalums for a little while, and Plexos for a long time. I don't know. Maybe it was stupid, actually. Maybe I could have bought a drone instead, and then, like, used that money to buy a conduit before I, like, run out of green. How fast was I spending this green? Yeah, I was floating for a while. If I just had 6 green here, that would have been fine. I could have taken the same turn, but I'd have another dollar, so I could, like, get an NG or something. And then here, actually another $2, because drone costs less than conduit and produces $1. So maybe I could have, like, not clicked the ebb, and, you know, something like that. And then, well, I don't know about not clicking the ebb. I think it is the point of the game where I want to sell drones back. Anyway, this turn I would have 2 less green, but I'd already be up quite a chunk of change and could probably spring for another Animus at this stage, right? Having saved $3 already and floating 1? Yeah. And then, you know, for the rest of the game, I never dropped below 2 green, so... Yeah, I think that definitely would have been an improvement, is, this conduit was too early. I was thinking it's a game where I'll want a lot of green, and that's true, but I don't need it in a hurry. I can afford to spend this bank for a while, and that buys myself the privilege of getting more drones. And those drones can be reinvested at a later date to get, you know, the savings from the earnings, let's say, from those drones. Well, that one drone would eventually give rise to a conduit. And the net effect of all this would be that I would have 2 or maybe 3 less green all game, but 1 more drone. Well, when I say it that way, it doesn't sound that amazing. If a drone costs 3 green, would you buy it? That is to say, not if it cost 3G, but if it cost GGG. I guess that is pretty good. It's alright. I don't know. Normally, I mean, no, you don't want that much green, so you wouldn't... You wouldn't accumulate that green with the intent of buying drones with it, but if you got the green because it was a convenient way to spend your money and you're still floating the green, you might very well happily spend it on a drone, I guess, and that's the situation I'm in here. So... seems like that could have been a better plan. I was just thinking I would be spending 4 green a turn for a while on, like, Plexo Tantalum. It didn't really pan out that way. I did it once, and then after that, the Hannibal train meant I didn't need the Tantalums, right? The Plexo. If I had, in fact, needed another Plexo this turn, then that conduit was actually necessary, right? I would be spending 2 more green this turn, and I'd be down 2 green from not buying a conduit 2 turns ago. So maybe the conduit was fine, if you assume that I can actually buy Plexo Tantalum. And it turns out I couldn't, but I think it was reasonable to plan for that possibility that I might need it. Like, I think opponents should have switched from Tarsiers to Rhinos sooner, and then I might have needed to. Or at least a force field or something, right? Yeah, I think the conduit was okay. One other thing that troubled me this game was this splitter who was never clicked. It was just like a wall with threat, basically. Which is not nothing, right? It's a wall that is non-prompt, but I bought it at a time when that was fine. And which requires opponent to buy a single engineer once. If you could pay 6 and a blue for that unit, would you do so? No. But if you had 6 and a blue and nothing else to do with it, would you buy that unit? Yeah, I mean, it's comparable to Infusion Grid, kind of, maybe. No, it's not. It's much worse. Because the Infusion Grid gets you 3 value every turn, whereas this just gets you 2 value plus 1 value once. But it's obviously better than disrupting the Hannibal train. Maybe what I could have done was not lose this wall. I didn't really consider the important function this wall would serve in the future. It's like the absorber that I actually want to be absorbing on, right? If I'm going to be building Hannibals every turn, I can't build another wall to absorb on, and so I have to absorb on something I already have. I'd much rather that be a wall than a splitter if possible, so I can be clicking my splitter. The obvious way to fix that would be to get a barrier or two here. So that I can lose NGs and barriers onto the wall instead of losing wall onto splitter. I thought this was pretty cool at the time. Save my granularity by taking 5 damage like so. I was very smart. But the wall has a much more important job than I thought it did, right? This wall is sort of an absorber for 3 in a way. Because if it exists, I can absorb on it for 2 and click my splitter for 1. If it doesn't exist, I have to hold the splitter every turn. So the wall... This wall is an urban sentry. It looks like a wall, but it's actually an urban sentry because of this splitter in my upcoming Hannibal plans. And so I should not be at all eager to soak with it. I should do a lot to protect it, in fact. Maybe that's barrier force field or something here. Feels a little sad to be selling a drone, but I don't know. Maybe since I have this giant influx of green, maybe I should just like triple barrier. It gives them a free splitter hold. Oh well. Maybe I could double barrier and then they don't have any free holds. I lose 1 NG, but that's okay. Yeah, that might be best. Double barrier here. To save the urban sentry. Yeah, that would have been better. I mean, on the other hand, I was getting defensive tempo by holding the splitter. I guess I'm paying 2 GG to gain the defensive tempo now, instead of gaining it over the course of many turns by holding back the splitter forever. Yeah. Maybe even GGG would be, or 3 GGG would be an okay price. I don't think so, though. I think I'm okay having just 1 NG. Huh. Okay, so that's an interesting thing to consider. What else? Obviously, I think this was the right time to get Hannibals, and opponent somehow missed a window on this, like 4, 6, 7, 8. Like if they had gotten a Hannibal here instead of this wall Tarsier, I feel like that would have been a big improvement. I get to exploit it a tiny bit by... Well, actually, I only have 5 Tarsiers, right? And it looks like I have 2 splitters, but actually I only have 1. So that's 6 damage. I have a Hannibal for 7, the one I'll build next turn, of course. And I have this for 8. So, like, I get a very small exploit against the Hannibal. And it's even one that requires me to delay my Tantalum value by not clicking it. So, I think that's a fine price to pay for getting on the Hannibal train, which would have been a very big improvement over, like, Walls and Plexos, is getting Hannibals. So I think this was opponent's chance and they missed it. Building this... Well... I guess the problem is, if you get Hannibal here, you're not defended. But I think that's fine. You just barrier here, and I'm still attacking for exactly 7, so it works fine. You absorb all 7 of it. And you get a Hannibal down, and then I'm attacking that for 8. And then you get Hannibal, 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 and I'm feeling pretty sad, actually. I think. The fact that I'm up, like, what, 3 drones? Yeah, 3 drones. Doesn't really make up for being behind 3 damage. Yeah. I think I'm losing it at this point in the game if opponent just plays a different turn. Well, I mean, you know, they definitely gave it a lot of thought. This was the turn they spent the most on all game, I think. I wonder why not do it, right? Isn't this like just an easy barrier Tarsier here, if that's what you want? Or barrier Rhino? Maybe they were thinking it would be cool to deny my Hannibal value somehow, but you can't. You have 9 attack. All you get out of not building any attackers is a splitter hold that you don't really want. Right? Like, you can hold 2 splitters. And you did. Great. Congratulations. You know, that got you a little bit of defensive tempo to buy more Tarsiers, but not as much as a Hannibal would have. So I think that would have helped. And here was the other thing I think I did well. Switching to Rhinos at just the 5 Tarsiers, because we're over the Absorb barrier now, and Soak is about to be pretty important. I mean, it already is, right? You're buying Hannibals. There aren't a lot of situations, I feel like, where you should be buying Hannibals for Soak and Tarsiers. It's fine if you're, like, rushing Hannibals before opponent has 7 damage or something. In a situation like that, Tarsiers are great. Although you often don't have 14 bucks if you're taking that kind of line. But when you're getting Hannibals to soak with them, Rhinos are probably better than Tarsier, because the game is at a state where damage right now is worth a lot more than damage in the future, right? So the Rhino attacks faster, and it gets some soak at a time when you'll probably want it. So if anything won me the game, it was the Hannibals, or the Hannibal timing and the Rhino timing. I guess there was also the fact that the opponent lost all their NGs and kept getting exploited. That sure helped. That dates back pretty far, doesn't it? Like here? Yeah, the turn when they got their double splitter hold, they're not granular enough. Or they're granular enough to avoid being exploited, but not to avoid losing all their NGs. And in fact, the amount of attack that I clearly wanted to attack for takes away all their granularity, so big problem there. This would have been another excellent turn to switch to Hannibals. Maybe even better than the last one, I don't know. But like, you just cut Tarsier Splitter and buy Hannibal, and it's way better. It's so much better. That probably would also have won if I had to guess. I don't know. Like, say they try that. Let's look at their actual turn. And let's just make that change. No other changes. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. I was going to say they floated too, but no, they got Plexo. Which they need, of course. So now you get the Hannibal. And honestly, I think Barrier NG is important. You should be clicking Ebb here, and this lets you refresh your granularity at no real cost. Costs you green, but that's fine. Costs you a drone, but that's what you want. And you have 5, 7 absorb. I'm clearly doing at least 7 damage. I'm not denying you anything this way. This would be a big improvement. And this way you're granular next turn, right? So I get my own bowl. I'm attacking for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 at least. So I can't deny them Hannibal value even by not clicking these, so I might as well. Pretty spooky. I think I need a Plexo here. Rhino NG. I could click Ebb. I don't think that's such a great plan. And doesn't this seem a lot more palatable? I don't know, maybe not. I guess, yeah, you go ahead and Gambit the Rhino, right? It's a good Gambit for that Rhino. Oh, whoops. Obviously they would kill the bull. Oh, and my Plexo sucks. Whoops. I don't have an easy fix for that, do I? Not really. Even a 3 health Plexo is worth buying. I just wish I could have, somehow done better. Well, I mean, I guess I get an exploit here as well by holding all my rhinos, for what that's worth. And I shouldn't have clicked these. Ah, right. So I'm attacking for at least 9, so I can't deny Hannibal value. And the thing I was thinking about was, well, what if they Plexo? Can I deny that value by not clicking these? Yeah, but I don't know. So in this analysis, neither player is playing very well. 9, 12, 7, 9, 13. They're gonna make this Plexo bad again. No. They have 13 attack guaranteed. So this Plexo works out well. But it's just so much easier to defend. Five, 6, 7, 9. I mean, I guess I'm again not clicking rhinos and denying this Plexo value, but that just means I'm not attacking. How happy with that can I be, really? Yeah, let's keep the drone. And I'm out of bowls first, right? So oh, whoops, hang on. Click this Tantalum, please. Oh, and we'll pretend I clicked the ball. I don't know. This actually is not so bad for me, I don't think. Well, they get the last Hannibal, though. It seems like their lower drone count... Ooh, these two barriers apparently should have been a force field after all. Anyway, it seems like their lower drone count is a problem. They're running out of attack faster than I thought they would. I thought that just buying the Hannibal would be enough to save them, but... Well, on the other hand, what am I supposed to do about 14 attack, right? Oh, there you go. That, I guess. And then, yeah, I just have somehow more attack. Well, not more. The same amount, but I'm up a couple drones. I have a little bit of green in the bank as well. Well, this turn they don't even have to do anything to defend. Oh boy, that must be nice. I guess you do this. Why do I keep having to lose this NG? I guess that's because he's my granularity point, huh? I guess I shouldn't have gotten the barrier, and then I could lose force field instead of NG. I know it's a mistake. I know it's not true. I think a barrier is giving myself granularity sometimes. I was like, I'll buy this barrier so that I can be flexible about whether to spend the NG. But that's false, right? Choosing whether or not to buy the barrier is how I can be flexible about whether to spend the NG. I can't do it after buying the barrier. And I should recognize that, like here, I'm keeping probably 3 health alive, which is Rhino NG. If I do this, I have to keep 4 health alive, which is Rhino Force Field. So I guess the barrier was a mistake. Cool. I will continue to make mistakes like that in the future, I suspect. Right, we had them do this. Here, they're probably making me keep 2 health alive. So I'm happy to barrier there to upgrade it to 3, which is Rhino NG. To keep myself granular for the future. Oh, I didn't realize I was exploiting them. I don't know. I guess I'm playing this game out a little too long for no real reason. But it was an interesting one, and I thought that the Hannibal switch at the time that I suggested would win for them, but it doesn't look like it does. I don't know, they have a little more attack. Actually, a lot more attack. My Rhinos and Tantalums have sort of tuckered themselves out. Yeah, but now I get a really great Rhino hold, right? You can't do this. This has to be a force field at least. And then it's only a mediocre Rhino hold. Right, I get to do like this. Am I winning? I guess I am. Like, I got the Rhinos. Why did that happen? I guess during the time, once they got Hannibals, it was too late to also buy Rhinos. They didn't have enough money to do both, whereas I was able to do both. And now this Rhino soak coming in is really helping. Okay. So anyway, whose turn is it? It's theirs. I mean, this is the most defense you can make, and it ain't enough. So maybe this to keep the drone alive for a Plexo next turn. I could hold back 2 rhinos for the cost of just 1 damage. But I don't know if that's really worth. Okay, well, given that I have to hold a splitter anyway, I might as well hold a rhino. Oh, hang on. They're losing 1 attack. Yeah, I think this is good. They get their last Plexo, and this is what they can attack for. Yeah, I mean, this looks like the turn. Really? I can't keep the rhino alive somehow? I mean, I can get exploited for 1, but is the rhino attack really that great? No. This splitter click is great because it kills the damage. Maybe they should have gotten barrier last turn, actually. I was thinking it was their last dollar and save the barrier for when it's useful, but they have ebbs, so they can buy more barriers, and it's useful right now. Because I'm losing some attack. I don't think it's worth clicking ebb here. A Plexo is better than anything else I could buy. Yeah, I mean, I get a free hold here. Even 2, really, but I don't want to use them both. And I can drone, oh my goodness. Yeah, and then I somehow come over the top. Huh. I thought that the Hannibal switch would have done it for them, but apparently not. Just getting more drones was good. Because it meant I could get rhinos as well as Hannibals, which they couldn't really do, even when I made them get Hannibals. Interesting. Okay, sorry, I'll stop clicking things. I know that noise must get annoying. Cool. Well, definitely a game worth studying, I think. Learned some things. And won a game. You know, what more could you ask for? Anyway, that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.